look, I have an agenda, and it's Cork Hurling, and I actually pulled together a graph that I looked at last year, and I put it in the Irish Examiner. And whatever about me going on, and I can rant away here, just look at these facts. If you're a Cork Hurling supporter, look at all the major...
15 Munster titles.
Yeah, what I did was I listed out all of the major hurling trophies. And you see here where Cork are since 2009. Again, I can start...
They're not just bottom, they're miles behind there. Look at 2 compared to 7, 10, 10, 15.
Miles behind. And we're out of the championship this year. There's a lot of there's other teams on that who have the potential to add to that list. And I think it tells its own story. And yes, of course, players must take responsibility. And it was disappointing. And it's disappointing for me to have to stand here or sit here and listen to Henry Shefflin talking about Cork players and maybe not having the same spirit as other counties or Kilkenny and not dying with their boots on. And of course they must take responsibility. And you know, Jimmy has to take responsibility, but you know, Jimmy is doing the best with what he has. He reminds me of like a substitute school teacher in a poor school that's doing his best. The pupils are doing their best, but the principal and the school is just a bad school. And you know, there are people who need to take serious responsibility for this result today. And of course, yes, Frank Murphy is the Don of GAA, and this weekend has been a particularly bad weekend for hurling in Cork. And
well, the Don has all kinds of connotations now, in fairness.
And he has a responsibility, but I think there's a group of people around Frank, actually a group of stooges and yes-men that I'm not even sure they're telling Frank as to how bad things are, that need to take serious responsibility also. And the last group of people that I'll say are the clubs. The clubs are not doing what they should be responsible for doing, and holding the county board to task. There's that graph I showed you to start there. They actually remind me of school children who are lying in bed and hoping someone is going to come along and call them in case that they're going to be late for school. They're actually asleep in Rome while Rome burns.
But you're suggesting they don't care now. They patently do care.
There's every person I named there does care. From Frank, right? I know Frank. Frank will give his arm for Cork to win. But he knows his, and the group around him. Of course they would. They
but
want
that's
Cork to
unfair
win.
to call them stooges.
But they know as much about serious level sport as I know about the sleeping habits of the Ayatollah. There should be a director of hurling appointed in Cork who is separated. Give him a 5-year contract. Let him do a root and branch review. And what I'd say to the clubs is, as a start to that review, you look at the appointments email that came out to all the Cork bodies over the last couple of days, and take a real look at it and look at the way it's structured. And the second thing I'd ask
is...
Explain
that. That's about getting county selectors for next year.
County managers on board. Yeah. And the second thing I'd ask you to do is that this year, a lot of the Skeena Skull competition was played in Musgrave Park, the home of, or one of the homes of Munster Rugby. And if you were a club chairman who really cares about what's going on, I'd encourage you to start there, for example, and ask questions, and don't take the first answer you're given to start.
I know, but Kilkenny kids that have skill if they're playing in Buckley Park in soccer or in a rugby ground.
What I'd like to know, Donal, is that the graph shows that there's not winning titles at senior level, but they're not winning them underage as well. Is that where the problem is? Is it that because I see these skillful players coming through, I see Seamus Harmony, I see Conor Leanne, I say, geez, they're great players. So is it the underage structures, or what is the issue? Because I think there's no doubt about it. I saw it against Clare. I was down at that game, and I was very impressed with Cork that day. So, you know, and they're not old players, so I'm finding it hard to figure out where is the missing thing. Because
you've answered, Henry. You wouldn't want to be Sherlock Holmes looking at that graph there to figure out that you look at the lack of underage success
compared to Clare, Waterford, etc.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making.
So it's the underage structures.
Do you want me to repeat myself?
No. But stop calling him stupid. All right, Donal.